It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
One of my favorite philosophers and writers of the 20th century, George Carlin. He says, I love him so much. Most people work just hard enough to not get fired and get paid just enough not to quit. Right?
That's so spot on.
And yeah. I mean, how many of us have felt that about our team, right? And I hate it when I get that cynical feeling about people, but you can't help it sometimes. But I will say that I have discovered a formula that works for me that has turned my business around. And I'll share, after I tell you about these 3 steps, the results. And like you've been kind of teasing a little bit today, Sean, there's some amazing results that come from changing your culture. So there's three basic things. I call them 3 simple truths to creating a great culture. And the first one is what I was just alluding to, is you have to look in the mirror and you have to say, what kind of boss am I? And I figured out, like, I want to be a great boss. I don't want to be a mediocre boss. I don't want to be a boss that people, talk about and they think that it's a we them kind of thing. I want it to be a team. I want to be part of the team. I want to be a great boss. I want to be a great leader. And so I just spent a lot of time diving into a lot of books about culture, about servant leadership. One of my favorite books is, get this, How to Be a Great Boss.
What's that one about?
Yeah. I've actually listened to this 3 times and read it through a couple of times. It's not a very long book, but it's an outstanding book. And if that's the only book you read, nailed it. It's an amazing book. So I suggest that's by Gino Wickman and Renee Bohr. That's part of the Traction series.
Traction,
yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and they kind of have boiled things down a little bit just to the whole boss part. And oh my gosh, so many gems in that book. But first, you have to be a great boss if you're going to have great culture. You have to be someone that people want to follow.
Do you have your managers and leaders within your company read that book as well to try to take your culture, and just keep propagating it?
Exactly. Yes. Give it to my team. I pay for Audible books for my team, because just to make it easier for them to kind of fit it into their lives. Because you can get a lot out of this book with Audible, and then there's a lot of online resources that you can get free through the Traction series. So one of my favorite books. And I love that there's an exclamation point on the front, because that's like my favorite thing in the world. I love exclamation points. I say, I want to be an exclamation point boss. That's what I want. And then second is that you have to really focus on people. You have to be a people-focused business, not a profit-focused business. People-focused businesses are much more profitable than businesses that spend all their time focusing on profit.
Mm-hmm. That's such a tough balance, because, well, Dan, the bookkeeper, right? The bookkeeper, the numbers guy, but he's a good, he's a blue collar guy that's in a blue collar industry, and that has been out there and has done whatever he's asked anybody else to do. So he's got sort of the 2 sides of that equation, but it's still, I think that's one of the toughest things to let somebody go because because your business isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing for one reason or another. And then you have to make those tough decisions, even if it's a good person. We talk about the people that are really good guys or gals, but they're not in the right seat on the bus. We hear that all the time.
Oh, right.
That's kind of an interesting concept.
Well, and just imagine if your whole team were A players and they all were giving everything they had. I mean, how that would be a game changer for your business.
Yeah.
And that's a possibility. And the people that are coming to your businesses, applying for jobs and things like that, they may not look like an A player the day you meet them, but part of them becoming an A player is what kind of leader you are and what kind of expectation you set for them. When you set your expectation high, people rise to the occasion. If you don't tell them what you expect, then they aren't gonna exhibit those traits.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.